former child actor that my mother even let me go out with late at night past 11 p.m. and I had a very close relationship with both him and Michelle Thomas. May they both rest in peace.
The night Malcolm Jamal Warner chose to vanish from this world, hardly anyone saw it coming. It wasn't just the loss of a former child star that broke the public's heart. It was the uneasy sense that something darker lurked beneath the surface. In the final moments before his death, Malcolm recorded a voice message for the only person he truly trusted, Jaleel White, known to the world as Steve Urkel. Their connection wasn't forged on TV screens, but through whispered late-night phone calls, confessions, and the kind of pain only a select few ever understand. That night changed everything, and as Malcolm's voice echoed from Jaleel's phone, a chain reaction quietly began that would shake Black Hollywood to its core and leave even the most hardened fans questioning everything they thought they knew. Malcolm and Jaleel's friendship was raw and unfiltered, a refuge from the spotlight that made both boys global icons, but then trapped them in roles America refused to let them outgrow. Malcolm, forever Theo Huxtable, a laugh track memory, the friendly sitcom son, fought for years just to be seen as a man. Jaleel, cast as the nerdy, undying Steve Urkel, carried his own scars. Offstage, surrounded by the silence of empty rooms and missed opportunities, these two former prodigies became each other's lifeline when it felt like everyone, from agents to audiences, had long since moved on. Malcolm's last voice note wasn't a cry for help. It was a haunting acceptance, a final passing of the torch. He calmly told Jaleel, "If I'm not here tomorrow, don't cry for me. Just keep me alive through the work." There was no pleading, no drama, just the hard truth that Malcolm was done fighting a system that never gave him peace. Hours after that recording, his body was found on a lonely California beach, the official report declaring an accidental drowning. But for Jaleel, that explanation rang hollow. He was certain Malcolm hadn't been drowning in water that night. He'd been drowning for years, suffocating beneath the burden of fame and the public's refusal to see beyond the mask. During the private, no cameras allowed funeral, Jaleel replayed Malcolm's final message so those few close enough to matter could hear the unvarnished pain. Gone was the manicured Hollywood tribute. Instead, there were real tears, trembling hands, and words that cut like broken glass. "They never loved us, Jay. They loved who we pretended to be." That day, Jaleel didn't just grieve his friend. He declared war on the shadows that had haunted Malcolm and generations of Black child performers. He promised, then and there, that Malcolm's truth wouldn't be buried with him. When Jaleel opened the mysterious USB drive Malcolm had sent a week prior, the pain morphed into horror. Inside were years of secret recordings, confessions, fears, and what sounded like desperate warnings. Malcolm spoke about being followed, about sudden medication changes, phone lines going dead, and trusting almost no one but Jaleel. "They're watching me, Jay. Every time I talk about what happened to us, something goes wrong. Contracts vanish. My therapist disappears. I'm scared. For both of us. They don't want us to heal. They want us to entertain." Jaleel's hands shook so violently when he played back those messages that he could barely stop the urn from falling. Everyone at the small gathering understood. Malcolm didn't just want closure. He wanted the story told, raw and unfiltered, the ugly version Hollywood refused to acknowledge. In the weeks that followed, others started coming forward. Former child stars whispered stories of their own. One hadn't been seen in 15 years. Another wrote with trembling hands, "I heard the tapes. It's all real. They did the same to me." A third, a woman from a famous family comedy, added, "We were just children. They made us stars so they could own us." What once seemed like paranoia now looked like documentation. And suddenly the industry started to panic. It wasn't just nostalgia that kept Malcolm from signing that lucrative Netflix reboot contract he found in the ruins of his apartment. It was a lifetime of being treated as a punchline, never as a man, always as a brand. Scrawled in angry red ink across the top of the offer were 3 burned-in words: "Not worth it." Jaleel looked at those words and understood. Malcolm hadn't just given up. He'd decided enough was enough. If Hollywood still couldn't see his worth, he'd walk away rather than let himself become a puppet one more time. But even as Jaleel tried to grieve in quiet, the world took over. Leaked police photos, showing Malcolm face down in suspiciously shallow water, started circulating on social media. There were no signs of violence, and yet, no sign anyone had tried to help. Hashtags like #Justice for Malcolm, #They Silenced Theo, and #Netflix Knew exploded overnight. Every time Jaleel scrolled, he was assailed by news requests, urgent calls from Netflix PR, even the companies he once trusted. None of them, he believed, actually cared about the truth, just about controlling the narrative. The pain got worse. Malcolm's mother, Pamela Warner, had been relatively quiet for years, but when Jaleel played her that final voice note, the dam broke. She revealed all the things Malcolm had hidden: delusions, paranoia, and the unequivocal statement, "If I die in water, I didn't drown. They did it." Pamela's fear and heartbreak ignited the conspiracy flames even higher, making what once looked like mental unraveling seem eerily like foreshadowing. Jaleel couldn't ignore it any longer. He released Malcolm's recordings, igniting a storm across every platform. Celebrities weighed in, some siding with the family, others backing away slowly. Netflix issued one distant statement: "We are heartbroken. Our thoughts are with his loved ones." Discussions were ongoing. But the world knew the difference between an email and a goodbye. Deep dive journalists found Malcolm's iCloud backup, a trove of voice notes and jotted down thoughts. He viewed the Netflix project as a trap, a way to turn him into a caricature of himself. "They don't want me to act. They want Theo to dance for them. I won't be a puppet again." His words were raw, filled with the bitterness of years spent losing auditions, being typecast, and struggling against addiction behind the glossy magazine covers. The public watched endless montages of Theo's best moments, but the man behind them was lost, drained, and almost invisible. Ashes, voices that had been silenced for decades. Anonymous ex-colleagues, former producers, and other child stars began sharing their own accounts with Jaleel. Whispered truths gathered momentum. Tales of lost contracts, sudden firings, friendships shattered under the weight of secrets. Then, one night, someone broke into Jaleel's house, stealing only one item, the original USB drive from Malcolm. But Jaleel, always cautious, had stored a backup. Rather than be cowed, he doubled down, vowing to make the entire archive public so Malcolm's pain wouldn't vanish in a haze of lawyerly threats. Jaleel tried to turn the tragedy into purpose. He pitched Malcolm's story to director Ava DuVernay, suggesting a prestige series to uncover the rot at the industry's core. Ava was interested, but within 48 hours, a chilling cease and desist letter from Netflix arrived. Any depiction of likeness or character remotely resembling The Cosby Show property is prohibited. Legalese for stay quiet or else. For the first time, Jaleel realized this was bigger than either of them. He cracked under the pressure and went live on Instagram. Over 3 million watching as he declared, "If I die after this, you know why. But I'm not scared. They silenced Malcolm, but I won't let them bury the truth." The comment sections ran wild. A digital riot. Fans demanded boycotts, prayed for Jaleel's safety, and some quietly suggested that, if it happened to Theo, it could happen to anyone. As the days passed, scenes of resistance began to bloom. Hand-painted murals of Malcolm under South Central freeways, single candles burning at their base. The movement couldn't be contained. Even the private memorial became a lightning rod. Under heavy security, celebrities arrived in dark shades and hushed tones, hiding the weight of what they knew but could never say. The storm behind closed doors only grew. Jaleel was silent, but the silence spoke louder than words. The case detonated when new evidence leaked. Security footage surfaced, showing Jaleel entering a Miami hotel suite days before Malcolm's death. Inside, a confrontation, followed by a cut to black. Industry watchdogs, YouTubers, and online sleuths seized on every frame, every rumor, every pixel. Jaleel's legal team called the footage a deepfake, but forensic experts hired by Pamela Warner insisted the device signature matched his. Social media's love for Jaleel turned fast, and betrayals multiplied. Celebrities quietly deleted tribute posts. Oprah dropped a segment. Ava DuVernay distanced herself, and Tyler Perry hinted darkly at knowing too much to stay silent any longer. Shockwaves kept radiating outward. Jaleel's former assistant appeared, face blurred, on network TV, claiming she'd overheard screaming matches and threats during tense foundation meetings. "The last time I saw Malcolm," she said, "he was scared. He kept saying, 'If anything happens to me, don't let them erase it.'" That confession didn't just rattle fans. It set Pamela Warner on a legal warpath. With a high-profile attorney at her back, Pamela filed a wrongful death lawsuit that instantly captured national attention. The lawyer went straight for the industry, saying, "This is more than a death. This is about the machinery that let it happen and the friend who became a weapon." Jaleel entered court surrounded by handlers, stony-faced, refusing to meet anyone's eyes. The tension was electrifying. When the infamous USB was played aloud in court, Malcolm's voice filled the room, calm, direct, unfiltered. "If you're watching this, I didn't walk into the ocean. I didn't OD. I was silenced. Don't let them bury my truth." For a moment, the world stopped spinning. Online, the recordings exploded, dominating every trending list. Former castmates broke their silence. Keisha Knight Pulliam posted a heartbreaking last photo of Malcolm, writing, "He told me he was surrounded by darkness." Even those who'd stood by quietly began stepping forward. New forensic evidence only escalated the crisis. A court-ordered second autopsy revealed traces of sedatives not prescribed, bruising on Malcolm's wrists, and water in only one lung, a hallmark of staged drownings. The official conclusion: this wasn't an accident. The FBI launched a criminal probe. Now, justice was no longer a hashtag. It was an active, nationwide scandal. Pamela Warner, grief-worn but undaunted, became the public face of the fight. Cameras found her clutching Malcolm's battered old journal, voice cracking but determined. "You may have taken my son's body, but not his voice. We're all listening and we're not stopping." One by one, the industry's defenders fell silent. Jaleel's PR team resigned. Endorsement deals evaporated. Once jubilant fans turned into a grassroots army, holding candlelit vigils, painting murals, and demanding answers from anyone remotely connected to Malcolm's story. Communities rallied, no longer just mourning a celebrity, but standing against a culture of silence and control that had gone unchallenged for too long. It's impossible to ignore what came next. Whispered rumors of threats, intimidation, and attempts to erase evidence only fueled the fire. People who never watched The Cosby Show or Family Matters were suddenly invested, demanding to know how a man like Malcolm could be allowed to vanish with so many red flags and so little outrage. Independent investigators, podcasters, amateur detectives, everyone began chasing the truth. Against this backdrop, Malcolm's legacy gradually transformed from a forgotten TV son to a symbol. A warning for every child star chewed up and spat out by the industry machine. His life, laid bare by those secret recordings, forced uncomfortable conversations about mental health, addiction, exploitation, and what really lurks behind the glossy veneer of Hollywood. The video closes not on a neat answer, but on a challenge to the viewer. If you believe Malcolm's pain matters, don't just scroll past. Drop a comment for justice. Share the story. Let the world know these wounds won't be ignored. Because if they could erase Malcolm, they could do it to anyone. This isn't just Hollywood gossip. It's a glimpse behind the curtain, a warning shot, and the start of something far bigger. There are more pieces to this puzzle, and the next revelations are darker than anything you've heard so far. But for now, as long as the truth echoes through one more person, Malcolm's spirit survives, refusing to be buried quietly, challenging us to keep asking, to keep fighting, and above all, not